So, hello everyone. Today we have a special guest on our channel. We have Abhishek with us. So, Abhishek, would you like to introduce yourself once?
Hi Ashish, hi everyone. So my name is Abhishek Singh, and yeah, today we are going to talk about my interview experience in Zeta and my past interview experiences and my coding experiences and how I crack offers, right? How I prepare for interviews and about my coding journey. So this will be all about today's podcast, and I hope you will be learning a lot and you will be enjoying this podcast too. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So, let's get straight into it. What was your interview experience at Zeta? Like, what all happened? How many rounds were there? How was it?
Okay. So let me start from the very beginning. How I applied. So I my friend was also applying in Zeta. So they gave me contact number of HR. Right. During that time, I was in a course, and from there I got a contact of Zeta. Then HR number basically. I called him. I told him about my experience, where I'm working, my notice period, everything. Then he told me that yeah, there's an opening in the team. Then he showed me test link and everything. So after clearing tests, interviews will be scheduled. So basically, Zeta has three, basically 3 to 4 rounds of interviews for a full-time role for a C1 role. For intern also, I was a part of intern too. In intern, they have 2 rounds, 2 interview rounds. But due to my college bad policy, I was not able to go to a second internship. So
Hmm.
let me tell you about a full-time. So after clearing away, you will get an interview call. And the first, basically the 3 rounds are, first one is DSA round. It is totally, it depends upon number of questions. In mine, there were 2 questions asked. One was easy, one was little bit difficult, medium easy to medium hard
Hmm.
because of type. Secondly was to medium hard to hard type. You can consider this as a lead code medium hard to hard.
Hmm.
So these 2 questions were asked, and the time foundation was to 50 to 60 minutes.
Okay.
And yeah, in this time foundation, you have to code, you have to think, you have to share your approach to the interview. And after clearing the interview, he will directly share the feedback of the interview to the HR, respective HR. Generally,
Hmm.
the feedback in these interviews are type of 5 categories.
Hmm.
Generally, one is strong hire, one is higher, one is lean hire, one is not hire, not lean
Hmm.
hire, and do not hire. So
Hmm.
for this DSA round, my HR told me that it is a strong hire. So yeah, on the next day only he called up and he asked me that when you want for the second round.
Hmm.
So according to my experience, I was having an interview in front end team. So it was totally web development front end team. So
Hmm.
for me, it was totally machine coding round.
Yeah.
But I have multiple friends who are working to back end. So for them, they were having 2 rounds,
Hmm.
2 or 1 rounds, one round of 1.5 hour, otherwise 2 rounds of 45 minutes each. Let me share my experience first. Mine was machine coding interview. So second one was totally with the team lead, in which I'm working on currently.
Hmm.
It can vary on different interview also. So the first question which he asked about DSA only, but that DSA was in JavaScript. So he asked me
Hmm.
DSA question in JavaScript. He asked me about multiple polyfills in JavaScript. So I hope you guys know about polyfills, right? In array methods, you have like multiple methods, right? You have group by method, you have join method, you have flat method. So these are
Hmm.
polyfills. So the first question which he was of polyfills, and he told me to code flat polyfills, group by polyfills.
Hmm.
This went to 20 to 30 minutes. Then next he gave me some machine coding. It was totally machine coding, and he told me to clone Google timer.
Hmm.
Whenever you search on timer, right, 2 minute timer, 3 minute timer on Google Chrome or
Yeah.
basically Google.com, you get a default timer, right? He told me
Hmm.
to make it from scratch. ChatGPT was not allowed, but the interviewer told me I can Google search.
Hmm.
Uh, Adding functionality, coding it from very basic. Right, he told me to use HTML, CSS, JavaScript only because the tech which I was doing and the tech which was used in company was totally different. So he told me to code up into HTML, CSS, and JS. I was able to add functionality. I was able to create basic structure, and it was done in 20 minutes. But the most difficult part for me was of CSS. Right, he wants the exact background for exact everything. So that was a difficult part for me, and that designing part was a difficult part for me. So last 5 to 10 minutes I gave to designing. So in 30 minutes I did machine coding round, that is Google timer, and he asked me more about my past experience with my tech, that was React.js. So I shared my tech regarding React.js, shared my project details too. Then that was, it went well, but yeah, machine coding round could have been better. Then also, right, he saw my resume, he saw my coding skills, right. Even machine coding round also he saw. So he referred me to next round. Now comes the third round. Then again, HR called me and told me that I have a basically not strong app, but I was having a, you can say, greater than R and less than strong app. It was in mid between them. Then he told that I would be having manager round, and it is not hiring, it is not a HR round, it is a different round. It is hiring manager round. So this round is generally taken by engineering manager in which you would be working on. In different companies, what usually happens, HR round is there, right? They generally ask HR questions, but this was a different round, right? I was also confused in the starting. Uh, then in this hiring manager round, he talked about my past experiences, past projects, and about React.js, history of React.js, and different Viva questions of React.js basically. There was no such, I don't have to share my screen, I don't have to code it in front of him. But yeah, it was like question and answer session of React.js. Then he asked about why I want to switch from my previous experience, or why I want to switch so much early. He want to know the behind or the logical thinking about why I want to switch. Then I told him that the role which I'm working on is not which I prefer. Then after taking all the sessions, it went to 40 to 45 minutes this round. Then he was okay with my answers. Right, uh, he did not answered me in front of me that whether I'm hired or not, and even HR did not responded back. After 2 days, HR told me that I'm hired, and they were negotiation. Right, there was a salary negotiation of 1 week. Yeah, that was all about hiring process. Hmm.
Cool, cool, cool. So that was pretty detailed and pretty structured way that you explained everything. So one thing that I've noticed and I've heard previously also that the interview rounds of Zeta are pretty tough, especially focusing on DSA, it is pretty tough, compared to other FANG level companies, other product based companies. I've heard that it's pretty, at par or above par for most of the companies. So what was your DSA preparation like for this? Like how did you prepare DSA for being able to crack Zeta's interview?
Okay, so I was not having any computer science background, right? I was a normal CBSE middle school student.
Uh,
So even till 12th, I was never knowing about anything computer, right? I
hmm,
was having computer, but yeah, that was totally used for gaming, right? I've never coded. I was not knowing about language too. What is language, right? For me,
uh,
language is like Hindi, English, Marathi, these things. Uh, in my first year, right, we were a batch of COVID student, right? In 2020,
hmm,
COVID started, so we were that batch student. In my first year, right, it was totally online, and right, in first year it was totally about multiple subject. Right?
hmm.
I don't like the system, right? Having multiple subjects of a CS student,
Yeah, I
right?
agree. I agree. Hmm.
Why to teach physics, chemistry, and everything for a CS graduate? Uh, in my second semester, I was having a coding. I was having a
Hmm.
coding in my curriculum from second semester. From there, I got to know कि हाँ, there's something called language, right? C, C++.
Hmm. Yeah.
In my curriculum, there was a C language, and
Hmm.
from second semester only, I got to know that this is language, and I was not able to understand anything in classes, right?
Hmm.
So I just read a book. Let us see. That is a book I don't know the author,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
it's a
Yes.
pretty
Yes.
good book.
I also
Like,
read that in college.
huh. If you want to know about basic programming, you can go with the Let us see. Don't go with any multiple theory books, right? From second semester, I got to know about coding. As it was totally online, right? So we were not having any peer group, or we were not having any coding
Hmm.
groups. We were
Yes.
having just online batch, online group, online meetings.
Hmm.
Then from second year, I got to know that there are multiple clubs, right? Club societies in our college. From there, I got to know, yeah, I want to be part of these societies. Then when I was talking to my friends or seniors, right, how to get into these societies or club,
Hmm.
they told me that they have certain rounds, interview round, selection procedure. Right. From there, I got to know that okay, they are asking some coding questions too. Like coding
Hmm.
clubs are there, right? There are two more courses. There are two basic coding clubs in our college. One is recursion, which I was part of, which I am
Hmm.
part of basically, not was.
Hmm.
Second is GLAG. Uh, in my first year, I was not having basically any idea about coding. So generally, most of the clubs take induction in first year only. So I was not able to part of GLAG. From after completion of my first year, I got an idea that there's a club known as Recursion.
Hmm.
So I got an idea कि I have to prepare coding, right? I have to do DSA and
Hmm.
everything to get part of it, to inducted it in. So from there, I prepared DSA. For getting into the club, I started
Hmm.
preparing DSA. From
Yeah.
there only, I started reading the book Literacy. So basically, I
Hmm.
started coding from second year. Then after getting into club, uh, I was having very good seniors basically. They guided me.
Hmm.
You have to do DSA. You
Yes.
have to do this much. So they were tracking us. They were tracking our process, right? They were tracking how much questions we were solving, what is our participation, what is our coding ranks, what are standings, everything, what is our ratings. So that was totally being tracked. So it was like we were getting mentored by our seniors. So from there, I got an good guidance into DS and everything. But they were just not spoon feeding us. They were telling the resources, telling the things which we
Hmm.
have to study. That's it.
Yes.
So from there, I got an idea. From there, I started solving DSA. So I was not part of lead code and gigs for gigs. I
Hmm.
was totally into code chef, code forces, and these things. So if you are in second year, I would advise don't go lead code, don't
Yeah.
go
Do CP.
GFG. Ha. Do CP with the computer programming, right? So because I was doing CP and it was more into logical building, more into problem
Hmm.
solving ability.
Yes.
So when you do CP in your second year, right? When you start in second year, or let's say you start in third year, that's also not late. So do
Hmm.
CP. From second year only, I started doing it. What to say? Being more focused on that. So from second year only, I started doing CP. From second year, I
Hmm.
started doing code forces contests regularly. On CodeShift also on lead code. No, lead code I was not there. I started lead code
Hmm.
on third year, I guess. So at Coder. So these three platforms I was using for doing CP. So I was actually participating. I was taking it as a my routine, right? Whenever I was having contest, I was not doing anything, right? I used to have a dinner, right, before
Hmm.
contest or after contest.
Yeah.
Even when I was at my home also. In hostel, it was pretty difficult to manage because we were having
Hmm.
fixed
मेस का
mess schedule
बंद हो
time.
जाता है फिर. हाँ.
Exactly. 8 से 10 कॉन्टेस्ट होता है एंड 8 से 9 मेस का टाइमिंग होता है.
Yes.
So that was the issue.
Hmm.
But हाँ, मैंने फिर कोड फोर्सेस ही मेजरली फॉलो किया एंड कोड फोर्सेस पे मैं प्रॉब्लम्स लगाते गया. कॉन्टेस्ट के बाद अब सॉल्व किया. इवन कुछ सवाल नहीं बनते थे तो सीनियर से पूछा. सीनियर्स बताते नहीं थे, बहुत रेयरली बताते
Hmm.
थे. बोलते थे यहाँ गलती है, ये सोचो, ये करो,
हाँ.
दैट्स इट. उनका
Hmm.
रिस्पॉन्स 2-3 लाइन का होता था. इवन व्हेन आई यूज्ड टू टेल देम कि मैं 4 घंटा बर्बाद हो गया इसको डिबग करने में, आप हेल्प कर देते. सो दे यूज्ड
हाँ.
टू स्कोल्ड मी कि अच्छा हुआ 4 घंटा बर्बाद हुआ, राइट.
Hmm.
So if you're wasting your time in initial phase, that is a good thing, right? So it is
Yes.
like you're
Yes.
making you prepared. तो स्टार्टिंग
Hmm.
में अगर आपका 4-5 घंटा बर्बाद हो रहा है, दैट इज नॉट एक्चुअली वेस्ट ऑफ टाइम. दैट इज व्हाट यू कैन से दैट इज इन्वेस्टिंग ऑफ योर टाइम इनटू
Hmm.
डिबगिंग स्किल. तो
Correct.
आपको जो 5 घंटे बर्बाद होता है वो फ्यूचर में कम हो जाएगा, राइट. इवन 5 घंटे से आधा घंटा होगा, आधे घंटे से 15-10 मिनट होगा. सो वहां से मेरा बेसिकली जर्नी स्टार्ट हुआ. इसके बाद फिर थोड़ा सा दिक्कत आने लग गया क्लास का शेड्यूल को लेके. हम लोग का अटेंडेंस था
Hmm.
75%.
Hmm.
वरना फिर अगर नहीं बैठते 75% से कम होता था तो एक ग्रेड डाउन डायरेक्टली.
Hmm.
जितना भी ग्रेड था एक ग्रेड डाउन. सो हम लोग क्या करते थे, हम लोग क्लास के पीछे बैठ जाते थे. दिस इज नॉट एडवाइस बट यू
Hmm.
कैन डू, राइट. यू कैन सिट बिहाइंड योर क्लासेस, राइट. क्लास में वैसे समझना कुछ होता नहीं है. यू कैन सिट बिहाइंड द बैच, राइट. इसके बाद मोबाइल खोलो, क्वेश्चन
Hmm.
पढ़ो, वीडियो को सॉल्व करो, रूम पे जाके कोड करो. दिस
Yes.
वॉज माई
Yes.
बेसिक रूटीन इन माई सेकेंड ईयर. आई वॉज डूइंग इट थॉरली. ठीक है, मैं क्लास में बैठता था पीछे, मैं कोडिंग क्वेश्चन पढ़ता था, सॉल्व करता था. दैट्स इट. सेकेंडली, अपना आप मैंने ग्रुप अच्छा था मेरा, राइट. हम लोग क्लब के जितने भी लोग थे, राइट, हम लोग प्रिकॉशन के जितने भी लोग थे, वी वर सिटिंग टुगेदर. हम लोग का एक ही विंग था मेजरली. मतलब
Hmm.
हम लोग जितने भी अच्छे दोस्त, हम लोग अच्छे दोस्त बन गए थे सेकंड ईयर से ही. तो हम लोग का पेयर ग्रुप अच्छा था. तो हम लोग साथ बैठते थे रूम पे. इवन जब हम लोग आते थे तो हम लोग कॉन्टेस्ट भी डिस्कस करते थे कभी कभी. जैसे
Hmm.
अभी हम लोग का कॉन्टेस्ट हो गया, कॉन्टेस्ट खत्म हुआ, बाहर कैफेटेरिया में खाना खाने जा रहे हैं, तो
Hmm.
डिस्कस कर लिया देन. सो दिस वाज द रूटीन, दिस वाज द बेसिकली फ्रेंड सर्कल हम लोग का इतना अच्छा था.
हाँ.
तो वहां से हम लोग को थोड़ा सा एक्सपीरियंस बैठ गया, थोड़ा सा कोडिंग में इंटरेस्ट आने लग गया. सो इसके कारण एक दिक्कत हुआ मुझे कि मैं थर्ड ईयर तक डीएसए कर रहा था, राइट. आई वाज नॉट हैविंग एनी डेवलपमेंट बैकग्राउंड टिल माय थर्ड ईयर. इवन जब सेकंड ईयर में इंटर्नशिप में आया, सेकंड ईयर में इंटर्नशिप के लिए कंपनीज आना शुरू हुई, राइट. तो वहां से आई वाज लकी कि मुझसे एक भी डेवलपमेंट का क्वेश्चन पूछा नहीं गया. दे वर आस्किंग मी डीएसए एंड दे वर आस्किंग मी ऊप्स इंटर्नशिप. बट जनरली पूछा जाता है जब आपने प्रोजेक्ट बनाया, लेकिन मेरा प्रोजेक्ट खुद का था भी नहीं. ठीक है, अभी तो मेरा खुद का प्रोजेक्ट है, जेटा में जो भी किया था मैं खुद का सब कुछ, राइट। बट इतना डेवलपमेंट नहीं किया, तो इतना डेवलपमेंट से बहुत डर बैठ गया था कि क्या होता है डेवलपमेंट। सो इसके बाद जब फाइनल ईयर में, तो हम लोग थर्ड ईयर में फाइनल ईयर के प्लेसमेंट्स के लिए, सो इट वॉज नॉट डिफिकल्ट क्योंकि मेरा इंटरेस्ट कहीं और अलाइन कर रहा है और प्लेसमेंट्स के लिए कुछ और भी चाहिए। सो इट वॉज क्वाइट डिफिकल्ट टू मैनेज दैट, बट ठीक है भाई, 3-4 महीने हमने डीएसए को वी गेव अ ब्रेक फॉर 2-3-4 months, then we prepared for development, right? I prepared for front end totally, right? I was into React.js, so JavaScript पढ़ा, React.js किया, then I made multiple projects and that I put into resume. So वहां से मेरा डेवलपमेंट जर्नी स्टार्ट हुआ। Then I started liking it. डेवलपमेंट को, the most boring thing which I like in development is CSS, right? That is the most boring thing which I like, right? So that's why I totally like in this, but अभी तो right, I have a habit on it. So from there I got into JS, JavaScript से वहाँ मुझे आइडिया लगा, then I went into React.js, then making multiple projects, right? Even it was totally new for me, so it was exciting for me, right? React.js was totally exciting for me. क्या चाहिए बना लिया, वो बना लिया, right? Even the first project which I made was 2D, to-do list. So मैं इतना excited हो गया था, पूछो मत, I was totally excited कि I made a project. So वहाँ से excitement से I got into development. So even I went into development for 4 to 5 months. तो 4 से 5 महीने में डेवलपमेंट अच्छा हो गया था। देन इट वाज टोटली इनटू पैरेलल, राइट? कभी डीएसए कर रहे हैं, कभी डेवलपमेंट कर रहे हैं, राइट? अब मैं डीएसए को इतना सीरियस ले नहीं रहा था, राइट? बट लकीली, राइट, आई वाज हैविंग अ गुड एबिलिटी, आई वाज हैविंग अ गुड प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग एबिलिटी, तो इतना सीरियसली लेने की जरूरत भी नहीं था क्योंकि सेकंड ईयर में और थर्ड ईयर के हाफ एक सेमेस्टर के लिए किया था। इवन देन आई गॉट ऑन कैंपस, राइट? फिर इसके थर्ड ईयर में कंपनीज आया, एंड इन सेकंड थर्ड और फोर्थ कंपनी मेरा हो गया था ऑन कैंपस में। But due to some bad policies of the company, when it was of joining time, they revoked this, right? They revoked my offer, right? They started delaying the offer letter, then they revoked the offer. I don't want to name the company because that company is not worth it. Take care. Even it is closed now. That company is closed. So yeah. Then from there I started applying off campus, and yeah, I gave multiple interviews. Finally, I went into my first company. Then from there, I was not liking the role. From there, then I came into Zeta. The one more tip which I want to give is there's a good way of making problem solving ability. So देखो दो basically tip है. One is whenever you're solving problem after contest, कि आप solve कर रहे हो problem को, so generally क्या होता है आजकल कोड फोर्सेस पे एडिटोरियल बहुत डिटेल्ड वे में आते हैं, इवन लीड कोड पे भी बहुत डिटेल में आता है एडिटोरियल से फिर डिस्कशन। गो टू द प्रॉब्लम, solve it for 30 minutes, don't take any hints, don't watch any tutorials for 30 minutes. आपने देख लिया, नहीं बना, then look into the editorial, look for hints, take 1 to 2 hints, or read one paragraph of the editorial, give it more 20 minutes without watching other tutorial, without watching other part of editorial. देख लिया, still if you're not able to get any idea, look into editorial, then make sure you code it by yourself. If you're
एग्जैक्टली,
watching editorial,
कोड खुद से
हाँ,
करना है, करेक्ट करेक्ट,
कोड खुद से करना है, कोड कभी कॉपी पेस्ट नहीं करना।
नहीं करना।
So you should give about 30 to 40 minutes, 20 minutes self, 20 minutes after reading hints or tutorials, right? इसके बाद कोड खुद से करना है। एंड अगर आपसे कोई सवाल नहीं बना और आप एडिटोरियल देख के बना रहे हो उसको, मेक श्योर यू सेव इट इन डिफरेंट गूगल शीट और एक्सेल शीट, ताकि आप उसको एक हफ्ते बाद देखो एंड ट्राई टू रिकॉल कि इसमें क्या एल्गोरिथम यूज हुआ था, क्या डाटा स्ट्रक्चर यूज हुआ था, एंड नेक्स्ट टाइम after 10 to 20 days try to solve it by your own without watching any tutorial or without watching your past solution. So that will help you to build that algorithm. वो algorithm क्या यूज हुआ, उसके पीछे इंट्यूशन क्या है, आपको वो समझने में अच्छा आइडिया लगेगा, राइट? अगर आप अभी सॉल्व करोगे, इसका मतलब एडिटोरियल देखा, सॉल्व किया, छोड़ दिया, देन दैट इज इवेंचुअली अ लॉस, कि आपने देख के करके छोड़ दिया, क्या मतलब है उसका, आपने इससे कुछ सीखा नहीं। बट इफ यू आर स्टिल एबल टू सॉल्व आफ्टर 10 days और आफ्टर 20 days, तो आपको पता, आपने उसका लॉजिक सोच लिया, आपको पता चला कि हाँ, अगर मेरे पास कुछ ऐसा प्रॉब्लम आया, ऐसा कुछ एल्गोरिथम मैं यूज कर सकता हूँ क्या। तो दिस टेक दीज टू टिप्स एज अ लर्निंग टिप, आपको बहुत लर्निंग में हेल्प होगा। या दीज टू टिप्स, या
करेक्ट करेक्ट करेक्ट, डायरेक्टली तो एटलीस्ट वीडियो ट्यूटोरियल पे यू शुड नेवर गो। एंड बेसिकली व्हाट यू मेंशन, राइट, स्पेस रिपीटेशन, इट इज पैटर्न रिकॉग्निशन, स्पेस रिपीटेशन, this is something that will come to you if you do what he says, right? Once a week, once in 3 days. Basically, keep revising. We don't mean memorize the solution or memorize the algorithm. Understand it well, but if you don't like revise it, you'll even lose that understanding of it, है ना? So for your
exactly,
brain to recover that understanding, what you understood with the editorial or with the hint, you need to keep revising it. वो नहीं करोगे तो obviously it happens to the best of problem solvers that after a year of no problem solving कहीं ना कहीं effect होता है intuition पे, है ना? तो
exactly.
that is great advice that you need to have स्पेस रिपीटेशन बेसिकली आप रिवाइज करते रहो सेव इट इन अ नोट पैड सेव इट इन अ गूगल ड्राइव है ना एंड देन कीप गोइंग बैक टू इट एंड लाइक ही सेड you have a don't go straight to the solution have a first hint like you can use ChatGPT for hint you can just read the first line of the editorial and नहीं हो रहा है बिल्कुल नहीं हो रहा है then go to the editorial है ना बाकी इट्स फाइन आई डोंट से कि हैव अ टाइम लिमिट कितनी देर तक नहीं हुआ तो छोड़ ही देते हैं अगर तुम्हें लग रहा है कि 1-2 घंटे में हो जाएगा यार कीप ऑन ट्राइंग स्पेशली इफ यू हैव इन कॉलेज क्योंकि टाइम रहता है कॉलेज में है ना तो यू
हाँ,
कैन गिव इट एम्पल अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम इवन इफ यू टेकिंग 1-2 आवर्स इट इज फाइन क्योंकि 1-2 आवर के बाद वो हो जाएगा ना देन इट विल स्टे विथ यू फॉर एवर है ना so that is one thing so yeah great advice right there so I think I don't need to ask you another question for advice because already in talking only we mentioned great advices right but still on a closing argument any advice you'd like to give to all of the people who are watching any sort of closing point you'd like to make
अ, देखो देखो, टू बी ऑनेस्ट राइट, डू इट फॉर इंटरेस्ट राइट,
hmm.
रैंक्स, रेटिंग्स राइट।
हाँ
जनरली इंटरव्यूअर आपका, अब किसी भी इंटरव्यू में आते हो राइट, दे डू नॉट सी योर रैंक्स राइट। अगर आपने वहाँ सॉल्व किया ही नहीं तो आपका रेटिंग
पॉइंट
का,
नहीं
रैंक का
है
कोई मतलब ही नहीं रहेगा राइट। आप भले ही कोई फोड़ू बंदे हो राइट। सो डू नॉट फोकस ऑन रैंक्स राइट, डू नॉट चीट। चीट तो मत ही करना कॉलेज में। आई नो देयर आर मल्टीपल डिस्ट्रैक्शंस, टेलीग्राम ग्रुप्स हैं, गूगल ग्रुप्स हैं, सो या डू नॉट गो देयर। आपका रेटिंग कम आ रहा है, रैंक कम बढ़ रहा है, दैट इज फाइन, दैट इज टोटली फाइन। इवेंचुअली राइट यू विल गो, इवेंचुअली विल ग्रो। आप उनको एक टाइम, उनको 1 महीना लगेगा, आपको 3-4 महीने लगेगा, बट इवेंचुअली आर गोइंग टू ग्रो एंड दैट इज, वो 3-4 महीना इज लॉट बेटर देन उनका 1 महीना जो भी चीटिंग करता है। सो वहां से आपको मतलब ज्यादा लर्निंग मिलेगा, आप इंटरव्यू अच्छा कर पाओगे राइट। गेटिंग इंटो इंटरव्यू इज लक, बट क्रैकिंग इंटरव्यू इज नॉट अ लक, इट इज टोटली स्किल। सो लक तो ज्यादा खराब हो नहीं सकता, ठीक है, 1-2 बार नहीं होगा, 3-4 बार
कब
नहीं होगा, बट
खराब रहेगा
हाँ, कब तक खराब रहेगा? 100 में 1-2 बार चांस मिलेगा मिलेगा। बट अगर आप इंटरव्यू में ऐसा लक चाह रहे हो कि भाई क्या वो सेम क्वेश्चन पूछ ले जो मैंने तैयार किया है राइट,
नहीं होगा
दैट इज लक। वो लक में आप कभी नहीं जा सकते। सो प्रिपेयर विदाउट एनी चीटिंग, विदाउट एनी डिस्ट्रक्शन। आप प्रिपेयर करो, 2-3 घंटा डीएसए रोज करो, 3-4 घंटा, ऐसा नहीं कि आज 10 घंटा कर लिया, कल एक भी नहीं था। सो डू डीएसए अबाउट 3 to 4 hours, डीएसए नहीं, डेवलपमेंट अच्छा पसंद है, डेवलपमेंट अच्छा करो। आई हैव मल्टीपल फ्रेंड्स हु आर वर्किंग गूगल दैट हैव ग्रेट डेवलपमेंट स्किल, उनको डीएसए नहीं आता राइट। जी सॉक से गूगल उठाता डायरेक्टली, so they don't ask you DSA questions in that. So do DSA, do dev, whichever you like. Right? Startups ask dev, they don't ask DSA. Swiggy, right? Zomato, even Zepto, they also ask dev, they don't ask
yeah
DSA. So what interest aligns you, do that thing, right? And do it regularly, and but do not cheat in that. That's it.
All right, all right. That's some great advice right there. So I think that covers pretty much everything about Abhishek's journey to cracking Zeta. And if anyone still have any doubt or they want to reach out to Abhishek, I'll give his LinkedIn in the description. You guys can follow him from there and basically connect with him from there. So yeah, thanks a lot, Abhishek, for coming on my channel and sharing your journey. I hope this will help a lot of students. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.